Good time to pick my nose from DimeBag there in World Headquarters here in the corner of my patio, which is right outside DimeBag there in World Headquarters, right behind that wall right there. It's right there. And we have the big battery and inverter number 2. This time it's a Road Pro 2500 watts. Takes a little extra wiring for that. It's got 2 wires for the negative and 2 wires for the positive, and we've already got it switched on here. A little bit beat up from the road. Whoa, that went blowy real fast. Actually, there's got to be a way I can hold this. Hang on. There we go. Alrighty. So it's powering about 600 watts right now, and it's saying 0 as to what it's actually doing, but it's definitely running 600 watts. There we go. Now we got it working a little bit harder. Not much harder though. Seems to have no problem with that. So we'll kick on the heater. That's down here. Now the heater's on. Wow, it doesn't seem to have that much of a problem with that either. This is pulling a solid 1500 watts right now, according to the meter that was on the Xantrex inverter. There's no meter here, aside from that one there flashing that we're still under 50% of the ability of this unit. And that is, I know for sure already, 1500 watts. This one here is good for, you see that? It says 2500. And it has double inputs for the power, and it has 3 plugs. See, what time did I turn it off? Turns it right off. Let's check all 3 plugs here. Plugged into plug number 2. Oh yeah, that's working good. Let's give it a shot on plug number 3. Oh yeah, happy days. All right, for a bit of a stress test, we're going to run that full 1500 watts just for a few minutes here in order to really give the inverter a stress test. Not much of a stress because we're underneath 50% of AC power ability here. And we've got this thing heater on, and airflow turned up all the way. And I tell you, that airflow that comes out of this thing, it's pretty serious. It could blow a small dog right off the drying table, actually. We did buy the EcoFlow 12.8 volt 280 amp hour battery. It wasn't cheap, but I thought to myself, you know, since I've had the donation of my inverters, that I could probably splurge on a battery and make this thing worthwhile. This unit here doesn't have the ability to charge that battery, whereas the Xantrex does. It can be plugged into the wall and power or charge the battery when not in use. So it's really an uninterrupted power supply, while as this one can be plugged in along with the Xantrex to give me 3 more circuits of power as needed. Now, give me a sec here. I'll turn that a little so I can check the wires. I mean, checking them to see if they're hot by grabbing them is probably not the smartest thing, but I can tell you they're not hot at all. They do have the 2 inputs, so I decided I would go ahead and wire up both because it seems right. Can't complain about that. There are 4 minutes and 47 seconds of this live stream, which it hasn't run for the entirety of the whole live stream, but almost. if I turn off the heater, it sounds like the motor runs just a little bit faster, but really not, actually. It might just be the placebo effect. I don't really notice any difference. I don't think the inverter cares at all whether I draw that extra 500 watts for the heater or not. And although this inverter clearly has been through the wars, man, it's still functioning well. It's a Road Pro RPPI 2500. You can find them online, painted pretty, not all beat up like this one. But this one, once again, out of a crashed semi-trailer. You know, when they go off-road and they get all wrecked and they get rode off, all the little parts inside get bought by a company, and they get, you know, to recycle the engine parts and whatever other very valuable parts there are in those rigs. But they often don't recycle the inverters. And so a friend of mine is able to get their hands on the inverters, and all of these have seen duty in one truck or another out there on the road. Let's see if we can't turn this just a little bit more. Are those fans going? I can't tell from here if the fans are turning or not. You know, they're not. If I blow on them, they move. So they're not loose or anything, but they are not needed yet. And this thing itself is very cool. Not warm at all. Once again, the wires slightly warm, like ever so slightly. The terminals where all the power is coming from, nice and cool. Definitely no problem for hands or fingers. Well, that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that, boys and girls. Tell you now. 7 minutes in. I'm not going to go any longer than 10, but I am going to run this thing the whole 10 minutes just to see what happens. I think it's important to come up with some sort of a plan for yourself for extra power if the power goes out. And this started off just as a way to have a way to plug in the fridges and whatnot in case of a power outage. But as I looked at those little solar power generators, as they call them, they have small batteries in them, man. Nothing like this. This thing with the inverter, man, that's some serious backup, I'll tell you. I should be able to, you know, I should be able to buy more batteries. That's why, more batteries. But for now, that's a substantial battery to have picked up. The EcoWorthy 12.8, and I bought it with my own cash. No help from EcoWorthy. My inverters are somewhat donated. A little bit complicated, but let's just call them donated. And I got lots of people to help me. I did buy the solar panel. I did buy the solar charger. Ooh, that's a noise. I hear a noise. That's coming from the unit. Oh, that's coming from the inverter. It's having a hard time. We're going to turn off the heater. Nope, it can't handle that. Oh, and it stopped. So we'll turn off the power. We'll turn off the inverter. Well, that was cool because something happened. I don't know if that's because the voltage on the battery is finally low enough, because I don't have a multimeter. But it looks like the next thing I should figure out is how I'm going to charge it up. Because if I've depleted the battery, it's not going to charge itself. That's for sure. I turned it back on here. No. It's trying to make... It's trying. All right, at 10 minutes, we're going to call it. We have a little bit of an error, but we'll figure our way through it. This is just the beginning at DimeBag Darren World Headquarters here in the corner of my living room. Goodbye.